We've seen Turkey take an increasingly bold stance on the international stage recently, particularly when it comes to Greece, including overflights over Greek territory and whatnot. I mean, do you think that President Erdogan is posturing for an internal audience, or do you think that the threats are genuine?
I think it is the former, not the latter, meaning he is playing to his base, as we would say in the United States. And let's observe that he's in a tough election campaign. He's got an election coming up in May at the moment. The date is kind of shifting around a little bit, which is concerning in and of itself. And he has serious economic headwinds. I mean, the Turkish economy is in terrible state, largely due to bad decisions he has made. He has also, of course, landed on top of that is this terrible disaster, probably 22,000 dead. Yeah. And the response, at least thus far, is not setting any records. So he's got a tough campaign, and so he is going to attempt to demonstrate that he is a powerful international figure, that he can command respect and attention. I think the overflights over the Aegean Islands, which is something I struggled with as the NATO commander, I think that his posturing toward Russia, working, I think, more closely perhaps than he should with Vladimir Putin, is another example of this. He wants to appear strong. Final thought here, the Turks will, I think, kind of correctly bristle if you say to them, oh, you know, Turkey, it could be such a bridge between East and West. They don't see themselves that way. They don't see themselves as a bridge between East and West. They see themselves as Ottomans, as a unique, distinct culture that once dominated that region from the gates of Vienna to down through Egypt and well toward Iraq, the Ottoman Empire. And so we need to understand that as we look at the psychology and the approach taken by Erdogan. Doesn't mean we can't work with him, doesn't mean Turkey cannot be a competent, capable member of the alliance, but we need to understand it, put it in context, and quietly offstage be working with Turkey to make sure what they're doing aligns with the alliance. Hey, last thought on that. One thing they're doing that is, I think, very dangerous to the alliance is they're blocking the accession of Finland and Sweden, who want to join the alliance. We want them. These are two fabulous turnkey militaries, highly capable. Erdogan's government is blocking their membership thus far. There's immense pressure on Turkey. I think that one will come out fine in the end, but I think it's an example of where we need to be quietly offstaged, saying to the Turks, hey, you need to act like allies.
Is there any credence, is there any truth to the claims that Turkey makes in terms of Greece militarizing the islands, under the agreement that they keep referring to as the Treaty of Lausanne?
Yeah, I think the bottom line in this, having studied this exhaustively, as you can imagine, as a NATO commander dealing with two fractious allies here, is that Greece has every right to put up surveillance and be capable of controlling airspace and controlling the seas around what is undoubtedly Greek territory. And Turkey ought to understand that clearly. And frankly, when I spoke to Turkish military officers, they got that. Back to your original very, very good observation that there's a domestic base that's being played to here. Bottom line, I didn't at the time, nor do I now, lie awake at night thinking Turkey is actually going to seize one of those islands. I just don't see it.
Okay.
Sure.
Great. So hypothetically, if there is a war, if something does happen, how do you see it playing out? Can Greece, can they stand on their own 2 feet? Will they need allies to be interjected? How do you see it happening?
Well, first, I want to say again, I don't see any circumstance where Greece and Turkey end up in a shooting war. I just don't see it. Now, having said that, why I think that is because Turkey knows at the end of the day, if it were Turkey attacking Greece, and let's be honest here, Greece is certainly not going to attack Turkey. Okay, so there's only one way this starts in your hypothetical, and it would be Turkey attacking Greek territory. If they did that, the rest of the alliance, I am very confident, would stand with Greece. And that's an overwhelming force. Turkey is not going to put itself in that situation. The Turks are smarter than that.
That's encouraging.
Well, and let me say this, because we're all Greeks here, and we all have friends and relatives in Greece, and they take it very seriously, and they do lay awake at night in many sectors of Greek society.
Absolutely.
And I keep, through my media presence, my own personal contacts, my interactions with every level of the Greek government, I attempt to reassure them that the ship of danger has sailed, in the sense that they are part of the alliance. And the alliance is not going to allow Greece to be attacked either by a non-NATO ally or a NATO ally. That's why we have this alliance. And by the way, that's why Sweden and Finland want to join it. And I am confident in Greece's stature and place in the alliance. It would be defended, and defended well, by the alliance.
Another aspect of this discussion is the issue of the arming of Turkey as well. So, in its simplest terms, should the US be arming Turkey in any way in light of the increasing rhetoric against fellow NATO countries? F-35s have been discussed, F-16s and whatnot. That's being blocked by the Senate a number of times in recent days and weeks. Should the US be arming them at this stage?
I think at this stage, the U.S. is playing this one about right, which is to say, let's back up a little bit here. The Turks have purchased the S-400 air defense system from Russia. That's extremely problematic because of a number of technical reasons. It would open up to a Russian-made system, which presumably has some pretty significant cyber backdoors in it, the ability to surveil NATO systems, to interact with NATO air defense, and so on. That was really where this arms discussion started to go off the rails. Prior to that, Turkey was a member in good standing of the alliance, and it was perfectly fine for the United States to train with the Turks, to operate with them. And during my time as Supreme Allied Commander from 2009 to 2013, Turkey answered the bell every time we asked them to forward deploy. Turks went to Afghanistan, they went to the Balkans, they participated in Libya. Many NATO allies chose not to, for example, Germany. And so before we got to the S-400 stage of things, I think it was normal alliance business. After S-400, then I think you start to have a conversation with the Turks, again saying, that's not a good system for you to buy, and it makes it harder for us to provide you the very high end of U.S. military capability. And that's kind of where the problem resides right now. As you say, the Congress is very involved in this, and I think there'll continue to be real slowdowns in the systems that Turkey gets. By the way, Turkey has a pretty capable indigenous arms industry. They build pretty good kit themselves, but your point is well taken. We ought to be looking carefully at the very high end of military equipment under the current circumstances, yes.